Welcome to the Woke Socialist podcast. I don't get on here probably as often as I should because I don't believe enough people are listening. Even though for a very long time now, on and off of Facebook and YouTube and in the community around me, I have been telling you exactly what was going to happen to this democracy. However, despite all of my efforts and the many of other people who have done exactly the same thing that I'm doing right now, we've been ignored. And now everyone's in panic mode. This is the Woke Socialist Podcast. We are woke. We are socialists. We don't fall for the okie doke. And we're not going anywhere. Please like and subscribe to this video if you want to continue to get information that can help you rather than repetition of what we already know. Now, one of the reasons I don't play clips on here or pretend to be news is because there are people out there in independent news who do a better job at it than I do. So I'm here to give you some solutions sometimes and better understanding of your environment so that you can deal with it accordingly. Now, let me say this. If you were still in the United States of America and honestly believe that something is going to change under the same conditions based on your daily actions as they are now, you are a bigger fool than Donald Trump. Absolutely. This is what we call the status quo. And the people who are telling you to behave this way are either non-white, members of government, or people who are not accustomed to this type of battle. Full stop. I have two quotes that I stick by, and I want you to remember this by the end of this discussion. The very definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting a different result. The second, all that is necessary that evil prevail is that good men do nothing. But I digress. Let me take us back for a second and reflect on what has been said. The definition of democratic insanity is waiting for election after election after election. And I have been told by black and white people that in America there is something called a process. And that process and the individuals in charge of upholding the United States Constitution, their oath in that process, failed to do so in 3 elections that I can count. You remember the blue wave? When we went through all that trouble to get everybody out to vote for Democrats? And then the House was taken back and people like AOC was elected. And what happened? Everybody told them to sit down and shut up. It's not your turn. And look what we have now. Fossils in Congress are telling us the same thing they did before. Vote for us so we can continue to take APAC money, keep our salaries, and get vested so that we have lifetime health care, even though we vote against you having yours. Remember the government shutdown? where people who voted for these individuals pressured them not to fold, to hold out, because we had already lost everything. Remember, by that time, Doge had came in. And despite these claims of transparency of where all this money went, none of you senators can tell your constituents anywhere that this money is right now. For all you know, the United States Treasury has been raided. Your personal information has been retained by people who were not officially employed and sworn in to this government, one of which was Elon Musk, who was not even born here in America. And yet, you continue to trust the system that trusted him. Now that the smoke is clear, in one of the richest black counties in the United States of America, I see more Teslas on the street than I see most cars. Talk about not being able to give up your creature comforts for what you believe in, because you think nobody's watching, but we are. And that same motherfucker has taken away veterans benefits, women's human rights. They want to take away women's voting rights. They have taken away funding for public education, public television, public radio, food stamps, and the health care for veterans at VA hospitals. They have fired doctors, nurses. And every single time something goes wrong with Project 2025, these assholes punish blue states by taking away their federal funding. Now let me be clear. Blue states pay for red states to exist. We are the highest taxed states in the United States of America. But that's going to stop. Because I also live in a demographic where the federal government relied so much on our income. Now, when you are a member of Congress, a sworn Supreme Court judge, or even some asshole in the Trump administration, your salary depends on people's ability to pay taxes. So what these dipshits did, who now Democrats in Congress are okay with, have defunded those who fund them. Talk about stupid. And they just keep on doing it. And Democrats in Congress just keep on signing off on all of Trump's shit. And taking the knee. And bending the knee, rather. At some point in this little fiasco we call the American experiment, there will come a time where you cannot take money from those who don't have any money. So when you give all the money to the billionaires, and as Democrats are bought by AIPAC, Israeli interests, Monsanto, and other entities that I'm sure are infinite, You are depending on a finite amount of money to finance the rest of your livelihood. The dumbass you are afraid to stand up with, up to, has not only made it possible for America to be broke by giving our money, our tax dollars, to every swinging dick that makes him feel good. We have funded the largest terrorist organization in the world, and that organization is called ICE. Better funded than any army right now. While you defend him, you still cannot defend his actions to your constituents or tell any of us where all that money went. We're building arcs, ballrooms, taking over golf courses. We're funding the rebuilding of nations all over the place, starting wars hither and there. And yet you think that you're going to be here 4 years from now collecting a check from us. The math doesn't work, brothers and sisters. It doesn't even begin to work. That being said, an assumption has been made that Democrats are going to win the 2026 and 2028 election. Y'all need to kiss that shit goodbye. Even if there is one, you are operating under the assumption that a percentage of America is not sick of your bullshit. That we're willing to settle for Maga Lite. And that's just not true. We're ready for something better. We deserve better. We have voted for better, and you have failed on every level. Now, in case you missed it, Donald Trump has said the quiet part out loud. And for those of you who have been told time and time and time and time again that when this asshole says something, he means it. You need to believe it and believe it now. Waiting for a 2026 election is not going to save you from this. And if you still think it's going to happen, he has already said that he is planning on canceling the 2026 election. That is already written in the Project 2025. Read it. It would behoove you to do so. Too little, too late. Now, for all of you getting all fucking excited about everything that's going on, like I said, I have been this color all my life. So I don't need to be alarmed now, as many white folks in America are. And some black folks pretend to be like this is something fucking new. And you're telling us, don't fall for the bait. They want an excuse to kill Americans in the street. Newsflash, that just happened. They didn't need an excuse. There was no bait. So you can stop with that narrative. Because it's getting old, tired. And how is that working out for you right now? Aside from that, we have looked like this all our lives. We don't need tutorials on how to defend our black, brown, and red bodies from white people who have zero experience in civil rights until now. If you didn't have boots on the ground 20 years ago, you're new to the game and you need to get hip. Each and every municipality in the United States of America has to address their problems their way. This is not a monolith. Just like during the American Revolution, each state has to behave in their best interest for their constituents and protect their neighbors the best way they know how. And the best way to do that is to consult with people who know what the fuck they are doing. Not newly elected officials, not white fossils in Congress, or people who want to order you to do something because they don't have your best interest at heart. And you need to consider that every time you repeat that bullshit. Now, the next time you want to complain about how things are not going your way and how the system isn't working, don't look to the next podcaster telling you something you already know, getting all upset and throwing their hands in the air. Or one's telling you that Donald Trump's career is ended. Look to the people that had the support to stop this when you didn't listen. Proposed was a general strike, but you didn't want to do that because you didn't want to take days off work. You didn't want to lose your job. Now you're about to lose your life. And you don't know if you go out that door tomorrow whether you're going to be killed or not. And this is not exclusive to black, brown, and red people anymore. It's exclusive, just like in Nazi Germany, to anyone who does not comply right now. We tried walk-offs. We tried boycotts. But other than black people and large clusters of white people, more people outside of the United States participated in these boycotts than you did. Those are the statistics. The reason why America is still standing is not because of America and Americans. It is because of people outside of here that chose to stand up to Donald Trump and chose to join our boycotts and chose to protest where the cameras were actually filming, unlike CNN, MSNBC, and state-sponsored Gestapo media. So the next time you want to complain about something, look in the mirror and ask yourself, with all these veterans out here that were willing to leave the United States to fight for America on foreign lands, why aren't you willing to put your body on the line for them? You have turned your back to their housing. You have turned your back to their food assistance. You have turned your back to their safety. If any American veteran that is protesting gets dragged off by ICE. In most states, the jury is still out about who's in charge. You have no court to rely on. You have no members of Congress and Senate to rely on for your safety. The National Guard in your state no longer works for you to defend that state. That was the definition of a militia before we allowed the all-powerful executive to control it. That was supposed to be the people defending you and your state, not being called away by Donald Trump. Your municipalities no longer can be trusted to be called to defend you if someone without a warrant and no identification demands entry into your house and is armed. That was proven in Minneapolis by a Native American woman trying to get a DoorDash order when ICE showed up to arrest the delivery person. I don't know how plain I need to make this. You are on your own. Now, when all of these resources are gone, including civil defense, what have you done for yourself? Or did you make the mistake of relying on the process and trusting that these people were going to take care of you? They haven't done it before for people that look like me, so why should they start now? In conclusion, I will say this. There are neighborhoods and hamlets throughout the United States of America, normally headed up by people of color, who took the advice of Michael Moore to heart in 2015 when he said Donald Trump is going to kill us. We know how to cultivate crops. We have firearms and know how to use them. We can make soap. We can purify water. We can use natural resources. We can hunt. We can fish and provide almost everything we need to survive. If it comes down to it, we don't need Netflix and the internet. All we need to do is survive longer than the people who cannot survive without those things. This is the Woke Socialist Podcast. Good luck.